What's up, guys? This is going to be a quick and dirty. I might start doing recaps, trading recaps, maybe not daily, maybe weekly, with the limited time I have. Just going over my trades for the week, maybe for the day. Depends on if I have time or not. I do work a 9 to 5 job, so it's a little bit difficult for me to do trading recaps consistently. But I thought I might try to start doing them. I have had an influx of subscribers and viewers recently, so I thought maybe it would be helpful for me to share some of my insights on the trades that I took in the past week or so. Even if I don't go super in depth, I can try and give a little bit of context about what I was thinking during my live stream when I did take these trades. So I actually record a separate VOD on the side from my live streams using OBS, which includes my level 2 window and includes my low float top gainers and my leading gainer scanner. So it is pretty easy for me to go back and look at these VODs and give some context. Of course, you guys could always watch me on my live stream where I do articulate my thoughts as I get into the stream. But I'll try and give a quick summary of my thoughts here in case you can't watch through the entire live stream and, pick out my thoughts in that long video. So let's get into it. So we'll start with July 17th, which was today. When I sat down this morning, it didn't look very promising, right? If we look at the leading gainer scanner, we have PSNYW on top there. But PSNYW, it was a huge algorithmic spike on very light volume. You can see I'm mousing over it here, and I'm like, this is taking our top leading gainer spot. That's not usually a good sign. Because I think of the top leading gainers as kind of like the first entries in a Google search for most traders, right? Most people are going to be trading the first, second, third, like the top results. So the fact that one of those slots is taken already isn't good for the day. So I'm sitting down here thinking like our top leading gainer is like a no-go. It's a no trade stock for me. And the other ones aren't up enough on the day for me to really be interested in them. PMAX is up only 25% and everything else underneath it is below 25%. Usually I'm looking to take trades on stocks that are in the top 5 leading gainers spot and up over 30% at the minimum, ideally up 50%. So just sitting down this morning and looking at the stocks, I wasn't too optimistic about anything here. CJMB is a bit cheaper and I don't usually like trading penny stocks. DIYA has no news. You can see this is just the scanners, right? Flames means it has news. 3 flames means the news came out today. 2 flames means it came out a day ago. 1 flame means it came out 2 days ago. And no flames means no recent news. So, just looking at the scans, there's basically only B quality or C quality stuff. I'm not going to go too much into it. There wasn't really anything that popped up today either. I mean, SDOT popped up, but it's higher priced. I don't usually like trading stocks above $20, and this is a stock that would be a breakout above $20. But it's also a bounce off the low here. It made a big move a couple weeks ago, popped up to 100, and then came all the way back down. I'm not interested in SDOT. It's a bounce off the low. There's going to be a lot of bag holders on the way up. The move's already done. Has no recent news. Not interested in that. What else? Just gonna scroll through the VOD here. SDOT, it moves a little bit, but I'm not interested in taking any of these trades here because it's risky. We don't want to take B quality setups or C quality setups while we're in not really a cold market, but we're somewhere in between hot and cold here. Now you're gonna see, my VOD, sometimes things are gonna mess up because I was playing around with my trade zero bit. So the next one that was kind of popping up was SLND, but it's another penny stock. I don't really like trading penny stocks. No trades on that. STAK did pop up here, and I did take a trade on this, but I'll clarify a few things about why I didn't take a trade on it earlier. You can see here when it first popped up, it was only up about 17%. You can see the stock quote window up here at the top here. It's a Chinese stock in the energy sector, oil and gas, only up 17% with almost a 7 million share float. A little bit higher, still in the range that I'm okay trading below 10 million shares, but it is a little bit higher and it's only up 17% on the day. It doesn't have any news. Its last news was on June 8th. And right now the volume it's picking up, but it's still a little bit light, and we got these topping tails here. So I noted on the daily chart there that there was a breakout spot above 444. See, I zoomed out here to look at the 5-minute chart, noted that the previous day, it is continuation from a previous day where it had some volume, and the previous high was up above 440. And then we also had this daily level at 467. You can see here the top of the daily candles back here around mid-July, or the beginning of July, was 467. So I saw two levels of resistance, and it's only up a little bit on the day. Chinese stock with no news, so I was wary about this. If we fast forward here, it pops up to that level and then it rejects. We start looking at other stocks. It does end up breaking back through VWAP here, but I'm not interested in it down here because it's not up enough on the day. If you go back to what I said before about what percentage gain on the day that I like trading, it's going to be a top 5 gainer slot that is obvious to traders. Right now, this isn't obvious to traders. So, I'm going to be wary of it because it's not going to have as much volume. You can see back here, it only has 50,000 shares of volume. There's going to be more slippage. There's going to be a little bit more choppiness. So we're not really interested in it right here until it gets up and proves that it can hold up and it's not double topping above 440. Right here, it kind of creeps up. Still not interested in it. I will clarify something right here about this breakout, though, at the 440 level, is that this could have been a trade, but because of the factors that I mentioned before, the fact that it's a Chinese stock with no news, only up 20% on the day, and we have another level of resistance coming up. If it breaks through 440, we have to also break through 467, which is only that's 26 cents away. So, the risk reward is a little bit iffy. However, this trade could have worked, but I was wary of it. I would think that the best place to enter on this trade, if you were to get in lower, would be around this area. So right here, you can see it breaks through 440, so we would wait to see if it holds that level. And as it holds that level, you can see that we have a 5-minute candle close in 13 seconds and a 1-minute candle close in 13 seconds. MACD's positive volume is increasing. We broke that high of the previous day. So I would say right here could have potentially been a buy for this 5-minute candle close if it holds up and it closes in as a nice big green candle and a hammer here. So you could buy for the break of 450. If you're watching the level 2, you buy right there for the break of 450 on that candle close. Looking for the squeeze up to 467. The reason why I didn't is because of the factors I mentioned before, and also because right here our risk reward from 450 to 467 is only 17 cents. So I would need for a 2-to-1 profit to loss ratio, I would probably need a 10-cent stop, which is it's kind of doable. I mean, it is a little bit doable on this stock because it wasn't moving very quickly. But I mean, the risk reward isn't that great here. So, risk 10 cents to make 17 cents or 20 cents. And I wasn't sure if this was going to hold up either, or if it was going to keep going, since it was I didn't have any news. But it works anyways for that first 5-minute candle to make a new high. Starts bouncing off of 467 a little bit, as I expected. And right here, I'm watching level 2 because I'm considering the trade. I'm like, well, if it breaks through 467, this is a Chinese stock. There isn't really anything else moving today. So if it can break through this level, then it might end up on traders' radars. I'm watching the level 2 and I'm thinking like, you know, are there big sellers on this thing? Is it going to give us a pullback, maybe a bull flag or a 1 minute micro pullback for first candle to make a new high through the 467 level? And I do see some sellers popping up there on the level 2. I saw a 10,000 share seller pop up a couple times, and it did make me wary. You see there, right there, 14,000 share seller popping up on the level 2 on the ask. So I'm waiting, right? I'm waiting for a signal that's telling me it's okay to buy up here. So we're waiting for this to finish consolidating, potentially for the first 1 minute candle to close, so that we can get that surge of volume for first 1 minute candle to make a new high and a breakthrough 467. So I'll zoom forward a little bit here. It pulls back and it gets bought up off of that level down there. So I'm at this point, I'm kind of zooming in to see what it does. So 37 seconds left to this next candle close. We still have some sellers popping up, 5,000 share seller, but I'm watching and waiting for green on the tape and first candle to make a new high above 471. And you see it goes right there. I take a position for as it starts moving quickly. And I'm thinking my target is around $5, the next $0.50 or whole dollar. But I'm a little bit skittish about this stock, and I see that it's kind of grinding. It's not really pulling away very quickly, so I start scaling out immediately, just selling a third of my shares. As it pops up a little bit more, selling more shares because it's, you know, it's not really pulling away very quickly. I don't like grindy price action, and I see sellers popping up there as well. And right here, it starts pulling back a little bit too much to my liking, so I decide to just bail out on the rest. And, you know, small profit, $7 profit for 100 shares, 7 cents. Could have been a little bit more if I had just sold everything at 490, but it is what it is. I gave it a little bit of opportunity to see if it could pull away. Scaled out early just in case it reversed on me suddenly because I didn't like the price action. But it is what it is. You know, I will say that if I had a little bit more guts, I could have bought back here for first 5 minute candle to make a new high. But at the end of the day, I don't even know if this was a good trade for the day. Ross didn't take any trades today. He wasn't interested in STAK. And it was a questionable trade. It was a B quality stock. We made money on it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good trade, right? So it worked out. However, should I have traded this? That remains to be seen. It's, well, not remains to be seen, but it was questionable. So that's going to be my longest recap for today. I'm going to quickly go over some of my trades from the previous week. I'm not going to be as long-winded as today's, partially because I don't want to make this video too long for you guys, but also because it's not going to be as fresh in my memory about what was going on. So probably would make the video longer than it needs to be. I'm going to open up a VOD from another day here. This is 0716, and I believe this was a no trade day. Same thing. If we're looking at the top leading gainers, we have TGHL up there, but it's a penny stock, and everything else was, you know, not high enough on the day. There wasn't really anything that popped up that I liked. VRAX popped up a little bit, but you know, pulled back immediately, had a bunch of topping tails, was choppy, was a bounce off the low. Not really interested in it. Not much else really popped up. Yeah, you can see I did in the middle of the stream, I was going over my charts watcher settings, so that's why that's popping up there. Ruby popped up very briefly. However, I was just finishing showing off my charts watcher settings, so I didn't really get to see this right away. You can see I finished there, and then I swapped over as I noticed that Ruby was popping up. But I don't think I would have taken this trade even if I was quick enough, because this This topping tail candle right here is a higher volume selling candle on the 10-second chart. So it's a little bit riskier to be buying a dip down here when you have a big topping tail with high volume selling, because this could come all the way back down. Volume is still a little bit lighter on Ruby. You can see it's only 800,000 shares at this point. This is only our second candle. So I probably would have waited to see if this held up, and in the end I came to it a little bit late. It didn't hold up. I wasn't interested in it down here as I was pulling back. Higher volume selling candles in the 1 minute, big topping tail in the 5 minute. This particular stock isn't, it's not very sexy. You look at the daily, it's like it had like a high of 400,000 or something. It's one of those pop and drop stocks that constantly does reverse splits. It can make a big move, but it's good to be wary of it here. And MACD ends up crossing over, just ends up selling off, doing almost a full round trip. So I'm not interested in Ruby. I don't take any trades on this day, and there wasn't anything else that gave me anything that interesting. TGHL popped up at the open, but I didn't like the news, and receipt of NASDAQ staff determination letter and intention to request hearing and in regards to the NASDAQ minimum bid requirement. So not interesting, don't really care. Let's look at 0715, which is the previous day. Now this was a loss day for me. I made a couple of mistakes here that I probably could have prevented the loss. We had on the morning, we had AEHG as our top leading gainer, KUST. Kind of the same thing as I mentioned in my previous recaps here. They're not very much up on the day. Most of them aren't really in the price range that I like to trade. $11.67, $1.44, too expensive, too cheap. I prefer the $2 to $10 range. So we were waiting for something to pop up that I liked. Not really anything that interesting. And I'll clarify that, as I mentioned on stream earlier, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for stocks that are making new highs or breaking out of a range, or has breaking news and is moving very quickly. So I'm not interested in anything that's not doing one of those three things. If it's consolidating around a range like down here, I'm not interested in it. Well, MACD is negative and it's just kind of bouncing sideways and chopping around. We don't look at those trades. So we're looking for something that's a top 5 leading gainer, or is up at least 50% on the day, or 30% at a minimum, moving quickly, but maybe about to be up 50% on the day. Has a decent float, like a decently low float, and it has some sort of catalyst that I can identify, hopefully. So ERNA pops up here. So this was the first potential opportunity for the day. It pops up, pulls back, breaks back through VWAP. ERNA was a biotech stock with a decently low float, only 680,000 shares, and its news was decent. Receives independent validation of ERNA 101 with complete tumor clearance and durable survival in ovarian cancer models. So it's it's a clinical headline. I was worried about it because of this topping tail and the initial sell-off back here. So I didn't take any trades around this area. You see we have this higher volume selling candle, rejection off of 10, but it pops up there anyways. I could have bought for the breakthrough 10, but it was preceded by 2 topping tails and this higher volume selling. So I was wary of it, and also in the fact that it was higher priced. If I didn't take a trade there, it pops up over 1060 and it goes a little bit higher. I don't buy the first micro pullback there on the 10-second. Still a little bit worried about rejections because of the previous topping tails. And right here, I was actually looking for potentially a bull flag pattern for first 1 minute pullback. I see it forming like this, and I'm like, okay, well, it's holding 1062. Is it gonna form a bull flag? And then I could buy first 1 minute candle to make a new high for the retest of $12. But it goes early, and I don't buy because the preceding 1 minute candle is a little bit large. It's, about $1 a share range, or like an 80 cent range. So if I buy a first 1 minute candle to make a new high up here, then my nearest level of support is kind of far away. So I don't take a trade there. And the best place to probably get in on this was during the consolidation, if I were to get in at all, to anticipate first candle to make a new high. If I buy the dip down here at 11 after I saw that it got bought back up from 1062, which was the previous high, resistance becomes support. So that probably would have been about the better entry. But I was waiting to see if it would give us an actual pattern before I bought the dip. So it pulls up to 1250, pulls back, and volume is decreasing at this point. I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a little bit extended now. And I don't take any trades on it. It does a false breakout, goes lower. And then we had VIVS. So this is an opportunity that I missed. So I was watching ERNA here. I didn't notice that it popped up on the scans a few times, and I got to it just a little bit too late. I think that if I got to this 10 seconds earlier, I probably would have bought this first 1 minute candle to make a new high. The VIVS was a biotech stock up 77%, million share float, and they have good news, provides guidance that they expect 500% increased revenue growth. Like that's pretty good, a pretty good headline. I probably would have bought first 1 minute candle to make a new high here. I was a little bit too late. Ended up hesitating on this pullback because it pulled back 20 cents as a $1 stock. It's a pretty far pullback. And then it kind of just goes without me. And we're up 180%, 200%. By the time it pulls back up here, I feel like we're really extended, and it's kind of risky to buy this pullback. But it goes anyways. I don't get any trades on it, unfortunately. I could have bought this second pullback for this ABCD and the holding of, this 250 level. Probably would have been an okay trade, even though it was a bit riskier. I probably should have bought that even if I didn't buy this first 1 minute candle down here, which was the safer entry. But what we do instead is we wait for the first 1 minute pullback. But by this time, the move was kind of already over. It pulled back from 350 all the way down to 270. I bought first 1 minute candle to make a new high there, 282, and it rejects, and I get stopped out. So probably not a good idea to buy this here because we were extended, and we have a big topping tail on the 5 minute chart now. It was better to get in earlier. And as I mentioned on stream a couple of times, I think market sentiment has been prioritizing traders jumping in on the first couple of extensions on the front side of the move, like the first 3 1 minute candles. Whereas, after that, it's a little bit extended, and short sellers have been aggressively shorting off of that, first 1 minute candle to make a new high level. So ERNA and VIVS end up pulling back. I'm looking at ERNA here for my next trade. It's consolidated just below VWAP, holding the 9 EMA on the 5 minute. And I was looking for potentially a breakthrough VWAP here. The ERNA was our second top leading gainer, so I thought that maybe a breakthrough VWAP and MACD going positive could be enough to send the stock up for a curl. So I'm looking at it here. It rejects once. So it rejected once back here. I didn't take the first one because MACD was still a little bit negative at this point. It's just slightly crossing positive, and I was a little bit wary about this. We had 30 seconds left to this 5 minute candle close, and we haven't had we had this jackknife back here. So I was a little bit wary about it. So it comes up, rejects, and then it comes up a second time after holding the 9 EMA, and this is where I'm thinking, okay, well, here we go. When you see that pattern sometimes after it rejects and if it reclaims the previous rejection candle, that can be a really bullish sign. I was thinking maybe for the break of 1040, 1050, we could see it squeeze through 1062 and go all the way up to 11. So I get zoned in on it there when I take a position. I'll go back a little bit. So I get zoned in there. I take a position for the breakthrough. You see it pop up really quickly there to 1040, breaking through VWAP. So take a position at 1045, just 20 shares. It's a little bit riskier. We already had one loss in the day. It's a bit higher priced. So, you know, I'm looking at this. I'm giving it a little bit of time here to see if it can break through. And, you know, we're up a little bit on it right now. Our cost base is 1045. We're up near 1060. You can see a lot of sell orders coming through. And right there, a 5,000 share seller pops up. And I don't bail immediately. Right there, I should have bailed when I saw that seller pop up. That was an exit indicator, but I wait too long and I get out for, you know, a 40 cent loss with 20 shares. I mean, it's not a huge red trade. I put my stop just below VWAP there, but it capitulated pretty quickly. You know, this was technically a winning trade if I jumped out as it began stalling out. However, maybe in hindsight, I shouldn't have taken this trade because this stock had a history of jackknifing and I just did it again. You know, back here we have this jackknife. So it was better to be safe than sorry and jump out as it begins stalling out. It wasn't a bad trade. It was just, I had to be a little bit more cautious about it. Those are my two trades for the day there. I guess I should clarify. Today I was up maybe about $7. Thursday was a no trade day, and then on this day I was down about $36.8 after these two trades, which is kind of unfortunate. However, I am still green on the week because I had two green trades on the 14th and the 13th here. So on the 14th, we had some penny stocks popping up that I wasn't interested in, and we had NXTC at the open there that I was interested in. So NXTC popped up. It's up 266% biotech stock with news, and announced merger. So I was interested in this for the curl, and I was paying attention to it on its consolidation. I thought right here, okay, well this could be a 5-minute bull flag if it breaks 820. However, MACD is negative. And we are right around the 200 EMA on the daily, which is a little bit scary because when we're straddling the daily like that, it can be a bit difficult because it is a significant level of resistance or support, depending on which side you're on. We're currently below the 200, so a bit wary about it. So I don't take this trade as it breaks, and MACD is still negative. I'm just fast forwarding here, but I am getting zoned in if it breaks again, because as I mentioned earlier, it can be very bullish if we have a rejection, a false breakout, and then it reclaims that level for that pivot. I'm looking at the daily, I'm thinking, okay, well maybe ABCD pattern now above 820, first 5-minute candle to make a new high. MACD is slowly curling positive. I'm just waiting, watching. It dips down there, and I'm like, oh, well, that's too bad. It didn't hold up. However, it comes back up there, and it rejects. I don't take it because MACD is still negative. And now I'm thinking, okay, well, if it comes back up again, then maybe we can work with something here, right? It all depends on what it does in the next, 5 or 10 minutes. Does it keep going lower, or does it hold this area? Is there enough buying support? I look at other stocks for a little bit while I wait for it to come back up. I have it on a side chart, looking at SHPH, but SHPH was a no news stock, and it was just breaking through VWAP, a little bit on the backside, so I'm not really interested in it. And right here is where the stock pops up in XTC. So I'm thinking if it reclaims this rejection candle, then we can have some capitulation from short sellers because MACD just turned positive. I'm going to break the 200 EMA. And I'm watching the level 2, and I see, you know, lots of green on the tape right there, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna take a position for the squeeze through. It's our top leading gainer. There's lots of traders looking at it. We got a big green candle, and I sell a little bit as it comes up to 950, and it starts double topping. So I take a third off the table. It starts stalling out a little bit down here. So I'm just giving it a few moments. It's holding 9, but we got a bit of a topping tail. I sell a little bit more because I'm thinking, well, maybe this is going to end up being a cup and handle, and then I could add back if it gives us a proper pattern. Or perhaps it could come all the way back down, being a double top rejection, being a little bit extended. So I just take some profit. And I wait. I'm thinking, is it going to break here? So it breaks briefly, but it seems to have rejected. So I'm thinking, well, maybe this is rejecting, so I just take the rest off the table up here. However, it turns out that I sold too soon. Stock pops up there through 960. And that was a 5-minute candle close and a 1-minute candle close. And it breaks through 10. In just a moment here. Breaks through 10, goes all the way up to 12. So the trade was good, but I sold too early, especially since it was a 5-minute candle close and a 1-minute candle close very soon, within 30 seconds or so. I probably should have held the position and possibly even added to the position for the breakthrough 10, thinking that short sellers were going to capitulate. But we ended up getting the base hit. We locked up a $41 green day on this trade, $41.85. So I'm not too upset about it, but it could have been a much bigger green day if I was a little bit more patient. I did give it a full minute to see if it could break through. I don't think it was a terrible decision, but I didn't. I wasn't watching the 5-minute and the 1-minute candle closes, which is very important. I didn't take any other trades on this day. I didn't. I pulled back here with a topping tail. I didn't buy this first bull flag pattern. I was thinking, these patterns up here on the 1-minute pullbacks haven't been working super well because they're, it's extended by the time it gets here. And I'm thinking short sellers are just going to be aggressive off it, which they do. It's a false breakout, just goes lower. So didn't take any more trades on that. Consolidate sideways. There wasn't really anything else interesting on the day to me, as far as I can remember here. LHAI was a bit too cheap for me. Only up 30%. Higher float, not really interested. NXTC curls back up. We're pretty far below the highs, which is all the way up at 12. I'm thinking it's just going to be choppy. UXBG popped up there very briefly, but the volume was too light, and by the time that it gained any volume, it had a big topping tail. And UXBG was a Chinese stock with no news. Last news was May. So I pretty much just stayed out of this. So many topping tails. It grinds higher. I just decide not to take it. And right up here, you can see on the level 2 as it comes back up to this level. It pops up. Every time it pops up over 11 or 11.10, a burst of selling comes through. So I was thinking that there was a seller up there just keeping it held down, right? Right up here. It pops up and then comes with a burst of selling. Pops up there, see it pops up to 11.10, 11.12, and then it gets pushed back down with a burst of selling. I just thought that this wasn't the one, and it turns out it does pull back. And there wasn't any more trades on the day for me. NXTC ends up halting down, I believe. Or it pops up here for a red to green move. I don't take the trade because it's a little bit riskier. Then it ends up selling off. Doesn't end up halting down, I guess. It just ends up selling off. So that was that day. Let's see if I can find I think my trades on Monday aren't available because the forest fires gave me a brief power outage and it corrupted the footage for that file. Um, but let's see, maybe I can I'll just open up the stream. All right, we got the VOD pulled up on Chrome here, so we're just going to zoom in on the trade here. I don't have all the other information, the top leading gainers and stuff. I don't exactly remember, so we're gonna go straight to the trade. There's me in my hood. My first trade was on VEEE. I do regret not taking this 5-minute bull flag here. Let's zoom back to that. I'll close the chats. It's a little bit more difficult because we have to load instead of looking at a VOD. So right here, this actually probably would have been a good trade above 978 for the same reasons that I talked about earlier, except MACD was negative, so I was a bit wary of it. You know, if we break the pivot of 978 there, it's either 978 or 1026. I can't really see. It looks like it's being overlapped. I think it was 1026. So if the break of 10 there and 1026 for the break of the pivot probably would have been a good trade for that 5-minute bull flag. One thing I do need to get better about is keeping an eye on the 5-minute candle close as it's about to close, even if it is red or a spinning top, because sometimes there can be a burst of volume that makes it close as a hammer. And then it suddenly becomes really good on the chart as an entry point because it looks like a clean bull flag. So this was a good, potentially a good trade, but I didn't take it because I was wary of MACD being negative. It pops up to high of day there. And at this point, I'm thinking, I gotta wait for a pullback. So I'm watching this pullback potentially for first 1-minute candle to make a new high above 12 for a 1-minute micro pullback. It pulls back to here and I'm thinking, okay, well, now it could be a bull flag, but if it does pop up and break 12, then I could buy first 1-minute candle to make a new high. Could have also bought this dip here, but I'm just following my strategy, not taking anything too risky. And right there, we are about to get our first 1-minute candle to make a new high. If I buy as it breaks 12, looking for the squeeze up to 1250, maybe 1275 or 13. And it starts stalling out there. So I'm a little bit worried, but I'm thinking, well, where's the stop? It should be, let's see if $12 holds maybe just below 12, like 11.95 could be my stop if it ends up breaking down and not holding 12. So I just give it a moment and I'm thinking, well, I don't like how it's stalling out, so I'm going to try and take profit if it pops up there. So a little bit more time passes. I'm just holding. It continues to hold $12. So I'm thinking this could be another 1-minute micro pullback for an ABCD if it can continue going higher. But it goes a bit early there. I take the profit because I'm thinking, well, I think it's just going to stall out. And it does. It ends up dropping back down. So I took my 40 cents on 20 shares, $8. Just small bucks, but we're still learning, so we're still trading with small share size. I like trading with a little bit smaller share size when I'm in these higher price ranges because they can have bigger ranges and it's a bit more risky. So that's all the days from this week for my recap. We ended with around a $20 green week. Could have been much better if I didn't mess up on Wednesday. But green is good. We're still here. We're still learning. Still trying to find the best entries. And I'm interested to hear what comments you guys have about my trading and, if there's anything that you think that I could be doing better. I'm always willing to take others' feedback into account, and I'm looking forward to seeing how everyone grows as we continue learning trading. And I did have another YouTuber reply in or comment on one of my videos. I would like to point out that if there are any other content creators there that are learning and still, you know, at any point in their journey, and they want to comment to let me know that they're doing the same, I would be interested to check in and hear how you guys think about your trades. It is very interesting to me. So that's what gave the idea for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this regularly because I do have a job and I have a lot of other things going on. I'm writing fiction at the same time. I do want to make content though, and eventually when I go full time, I will be making more content. But that's going to be it for me. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you on Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, live streaming like I usually do. But until then, take care, stay green. I'll see you next time.